Have you ever looked at house prices and just thought, how is this possible? You're not alone. The dream of owning a home feels like it's slipping away for millions of Americans. We're constantly told it's just about supply and demand, but is that the whole story? Today, we're diving deep into the hidden forces behind America's housing crisis, and trust me, what we uncover might surprise you. This isn't just about economics, it's about the very fabric of our society. So grab a seat because we need to talk. Let's start with the most obvious culprit, a severe lack of supply. For over a decade, we simply haven't been building enough homes. The 2008 financial crisis hit the construction industry like a sledgehammer. Many skilled laborers left the field, and a lot of smaller building companies went bust. When the economy eventually recovered, the workforce didn't just magically reappear. Add to that the rising costs of materials like lumber and steel, and a tangled web of local zoning laws that make new construction a bureaucratic nightmare. Think about it, in many cities, it's easier to get a permit for a single-family mansion than for a multi-unit apartment building that could house dozens of families. These regulations, often called NIMBYism, not in my backyard, are designed to protect neighborhood character, but what they often do is lock out new residents and drive prices through the roof. It's a classic case of pulling up the ladder after you've climbed it. We're facing a deficit of millions of homes, and we can't just snap our fingers and build them overnight. This fundamental shortage is the bedrock of the entire crisis. Now, let's talk about money. Not just your money, but the massive tidal wave of institutional money that has flooded the housing market. After the 2008 crash, when foreclosures were rampant, big private equity firms and hedge funds saw a golden opportunity. They swooped in and bought up thousands of single-family homes, not to live in, but as rental properties. Companies like Blackstone and Invitation Homes became some of the largest landlords in the country. This wasn't a small-time operation. They used sophisticated algorithms to outbid regular families, often paying in cash and closing in days. What does this mean for you? It means you're no longer just competing with another family for your dream home. You're competing with a multi-billion-dollar corporation that sees that house not as a home, but as an asset on a balance sheet. They're not looking for a place to raise their kids. They're looking for a reliable return on investment for their shareholders. This fundamentally changes the game. It turns housing from a basic human need into a speculative financial instrument, just like stocks or bonds. When Wall Street becomes your landlord, rent hikes become more frequent and maintenance requests can get lost in a corporate call center. It's a massive shift, and it's happening in neighborhoods all across America. Another major force at play is something that might seem counterintuitive: low interest rates. For years, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates historically low to stimulate the economy. On the surface, this sounds great for home buyers, right? Cheaper mortgages mean you can afford more house. But here's the catch: it was great for everyone. When borrowing money is cheap, it fuels demand from all sides. First-time home buyers, existing homeowners looking to upgrade, and, crucially, those same institutional investors we just talked about. This cheap money created a feeding frenzy. Bidding wars became the norm. Buyers were waiving inspections and offering tens of thousands over the asking price just to have a shot. So, while your individual purchasing power went up slightly, the overall market prices went up exponentially. The low rates essentially poured gasoline on the fire of an already undersupplied market. And now, as interest rates have risen to combat inflation, it's created a new problem. Existing homeowners who locked in a 3% mortgage rate are now reluctant to sell and move because they'd have to take on a new mortgage at 6 or 7%. This is called the lock-in effect, and it's keeping a huge chunk of potential housing inventory off the market, making the supply problem even worse. It's a vicious cycle, so we have a lack of supply, big corporations buying up homes, and the complex effects of interest rate policies. But there's another, more subtle force at work: a cultural and generational shift. For decades, the American dream was a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence, but things are changing. Younger generations, millennials, and Gen Z, are often burdened with student loan debt, making it incredibly difficult to save for a down payment. Many also prefer the flexibility and amenities of urban living, but, as we discussed, building new housing in cities is incredibly difficult. This has created a massive demand for rentals in desirable urban areas, which in turn drives up rent prices. When you're paying half your income in rent, saving for a down payment becomes a near impossible task. This isn't just about avocado toast. It's a systemic issue. The rungs on the ladder of economic mobility feel like they're being pulled further and further apart. The wealth gap is widening, and a big part of that is the housing wealth gap. Homeownership has historically been the primary way for middle-class families to build wealth in America. If an entire generation is locked out of that opportunity, what does that mean for the future of our economy and our society? It's a question we all need to be asking. So, where do we go from here? It's easy to feel hopeless, but understanding the problem is the first step toward finding solutions. This isn't an issue with a single, simple fix. It requires a multi-pronged approach. At the local level, we need serious zoning reform. Cities need to make it easier, not harder, to build diverse types of housing, from duplexes to mid-rise apartment buildings. We need to move beyond the single-family home-only mindset. At the federal level, we could explore policies that disincentivize large-scale corporate ownership of single-family homes, perhaps through taxes or regulations to level the playing field for regular families. We also need to invest in skilled labor and construction technologies to build more homes more efficiently. And for individuals, it means getting involved. Go to your local town hall meetings, advocate for more housing in your community. Support politicians who take this issue seriously. This isn't a left or right issue. It's a fundamental issue of stability and opportunity. The housing crisis is the result of decades of policy choices, market forces, and cultural shifts. It won't be solved overnight, but by shining a light on these hidden forces, we can start to have a real conversation about the kind of country we want to live in, one where a safe and affordable home is a reality for everyone, not just a distant dream. Thank you for watching. If this video made you think, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world. Let me know your thoughts and experiences with the housing market in the comments below. See you next time.